Sitting at 1-5, Vikings Nation is feeling pretty down, feeling pretty sad, understandably so, but allow me to raise your spirits. Now, of course, this is depending on if the Wolf brothers take that next step and clean house like I talked about on Monday's podcast. If they do so, the Minnesota Vikings become one of the most attractive landing spots for a top-tier head coach, for your next top-tier head coach of this franchise. And we're going to first start with Justin Jefferson, who is a superstar receiver in the making. This man is a wide receiver one, even right now with Adam Thielen on this team. This dude is a stud first year, and he's only going to get better. You can tell he loves to win. You can tell he loves the grind. He low-key is already, we're 1-5. There's nothing to raise hell about with that. But if you're looking for a bright spot, he low-key is already one of the leaders of this team, especially on offense. This dude, based on his passion, I would give this man a captain patch on his jersey right now. So that's something to look forward to. Number two, Dalvin Cook. You have one of the best running backs, if not the best running back when healthy in the league, and you just locked him up to a new deal so you don't have to worry about him going anywhere. And can we stop now? Based on what we saw last Sunday, I remember when we were talking about, should the Vikings, should they extend Dalvin Cook or not? And there was a lot of pushback. Alexander Mattison, we have him on a rookie deal. He can be just as good, if not better than Dalvin Cook. Can we stop that right now, please? But you have Dalvin Cook on a new deal. Irv Smith Jr., you know what? Against Atlanta last Sunday, he should have had a touchdown, but caught the pass and then straight up dropped it. But you can tell the last couple of weeks from Seattle and against Atlanta, he's coming along strong. Get this man more targets, and the better that he's going to get. So you have three playmaking weapons to work with. Irv Smith Jr., Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook on the offensive line. Could be better, obviously, but you at least have something to build upon. You have some building blocks. Garrett Bradbury, Brian O'Neill hasn't been as great as he was in years past, but apparently having weak-ass right guard play is really hindering his performance. That's what I'm going to chalk it up to. And Ezra Cleveland, who against Atlanta, he was okay, gave up a sack, so not fantastic, but I just also look at that as, okay, why are we playing this dude inside? He's an offensive tackle. Play this man at offensive tackle. Problem solved. So figure out your guard spots. Riley Reif, I'm assuming this dude is going to be gone. He's playing lights out. This dude's going to get a nice-ass contract, probably with another team. So you at least have three building blocks to work with on the offensive line. Oh, and did I forget to mention is that you have a chance at a top pick in this draft to draft your own quarterback, whether that's a Trevor Lawrence or a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance. This isn't a situation, yes, the Atlanta Falcons and the Houston Texans, they're going to have vacancies once the offseason begins for a new head coach. But with the Atlanta Falcons, you have Matt Ryan. Is that something you want to sign up for? With the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson. A lot of talent, but you can tell there's a lot that he still needs to work on. Is that something you want to work with? Or do you want to go to a situation where you have nice pieces surrounding your potential quarterback that you get to select? That's something to look forward to. Now on the defensive side, actually, before we even get to that, think of it like this. One more example. The Arizona Cardinals. Josh Rosen, I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback get screwed over more than Josh Rosen. This dude went from Arizona the year after he just played for them, his rookie year. They moved this dude to Miami so that Cliff Kingsbury can go out and draft Kyler Murray. Josh Rosen went to Miami, and after Miami, now I don't even think he's with a team at this point, but you get to come in and pick your own guy. And assuming that Rick Spielman is also gone, we're going to have a GM. Let's say you end up with the number 5 pick and you want to try to move up to number 2 or number 1. You can have an aggressive GM that can make that happen to get your guy. Now we go to the defense, Danielle Hunter. And actually, I talked about this on the last podcast on Monday, talking about how we're going to need to stockpile draft picks, trade away guys with value while you still can, assuming we're doing everything must go sale. Danielle Hunter is not one of those guys. I don't care if it's even only a 50-50 shot that he even plays at all in 2021. You take that risk for the best edge rusher in the game. Eric Kendricks, assuming that we do hire an offensive-minded head coach, because Going back to the conclusion of the 2018 season when the Vikings shit the bed in a win and you're in scenario week 17, that's when I first said fire Mike Zimmer and fire Rick Spielman. And the immediate pushback I got was, oh my God, who do you replace him with? Who are you going to replace him with? And I said, I don't give a fuck. I know exactly what we're not getting from Mike Zimmer this point and beyond. Bro, you can replace Mike Zimmer with this. This brush can do a better job at calling plays and leading the team better than Mike Zimmer. But then after a while, I said, you know what? Eric Bieniemy. Literally, for the last 2 years, I've said Eric Bieniemy, offensive coach or offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bring in Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy, do. Won't you please be our head coach? Eric Bieniemy, please come home. Do. If we do bring on Eric Bieniemy, Journey, anybody? If we do bring on an offensive-minded head coach, on the defensive side, yes, he's going to hire his own defensive coordinator, but you need some sort of leadership to lead this whole new young defense. And I think that's Eric Kendricks. You have him under contract for the next 3 years after this season. Best middle linebacker in the game. Yannick Ngakoue, maybe. And I only say that because, and make no mistake about it, he's been great. He's been fantastic. I want Yannick Ngakoue on this team long term. He's going to command a lot of money as a free agent, but I only say maybe because it just depends what you're able to do fiscally with the Kirk Cousins contract. Because if you, at this point, Kirk Cousins needs to be gone, but if you trade Kirk Cousins before June 1st, the Minnesota Vikings in 2021 would have a $20 million dead cap hit. If you trade him after June 1st, a post-June 1st trade, the Minnesota Vikings would just have a $10 million dead cap hit next season. Now, obviously, in the best interest of the Vikings, a post-June 1st trade would be better. But for a team to be more attractive to trade a guy like Kirk Cousins, who has a ton of question marks, it would be more beneficial for that other team, for the Vikings to take on more of that dead cap hit. So a pre-June 1st trade would be more beneficial for the other team and maybe more beneficial for the Vikings for the sake of, let's get rid of Kirk Cousins. We can probably do it sooner rather than later. So it just depends. If you can keep Yannick Ngakoue, great. If you keep him and Danielle Hunter is able to play next year, Michael Pierce, he's going to be back. Play James Lynch, all of a sudden, you have a defensive line. The corners, they're going to be young. It's going to be something to try to build around. But you know what? Get your defensive coordinator. Coaching. Be innovative. Coach up these guys. They're going to learn. As long as you're not being a fart and playing these guys 7 yards off their man pre-snap, I think the cornerback, there's a lot of talent here. Jeff Gladney, Cam Dantzler, they have a lot of talent. It is, you know what, and I would be willing to say that, oh, they're rookies, so that's why they're struggling. But honestly, the icing on the cake for me is seeing Xavier Rhodes, who was complete ass, just straight hot, sick ass in 2019. All of a sudden, he's one of the best cornerbacks in the league now that he's no longer under Mike Zimmer. So this is a coaching issue. Have innovative coaching on the defensive side of the ball. Draft a safety because Anthony Harris, Harrison Smith, Anthony Harris, he's going to be gone. Harrison Smith, I love Hitman. One of the greatest players of all time for this franchise. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. At this point, he deserves a chance to win a ring. I think long term, it would just be better off for the Vikings to go ahead and trade him, draft a safety in the mid or later rounds, and you have something to work with as a new head coach. The Minnesota Vikings can be one of the most attractive destinations for a top-tier head coach. The fan base, they are super passionate. If you deliver the first ever Lombardi trophy to this franchise, you will be loved forever. And then, lastly, the Wolf brothers. You have probably the greatest ownership in the league because they are super hands-off. They're not Jerry Jones or like Suge Knight said, all up in the videos. They are hands-off. They are going to let you do your thing. This can be one of the best places for a top-tier head coach to come to. Again, this all depends on if the Wolves take that next step and clean house, because up to this point, all we've seen from our head coach in 7 years, with a couple of years, let's say at least 3 years, having one of the most talented rosters in the league, is that maybe, just maybe, all that we've seen is maybe every other year we can maybe win a playoff game. and that's not going to get it done. We do this 3 times a week, Mediocre Best Sports Podcast with Realistic Randy. Check me out on Twitter at realistic_Randy, Facebook at realistic Randy. Next podcast is tomorrow. We'll see you then.